So essentially, you are coming from a family of musicians. So is this something that you kind of always knew, look, music is in my future, or were you kind of thinking, do you know what? There's something else that I'd like to try first?
I always loved music. I grew up on the side of the stage watching my dad and play as well with other musicians. So I definitely had such a grow for it. But I think like when I was applying for like my CAO, I went to BIM in music college. And when I was applying for my CAO, all of it was like veterinary science or like nursing and stuff like that. So it definitely wasn't really on the cards and then I had to fill out the full CAO. So I put BIM at the very bottom and not really thinking much. And then they gave me a call and they were like, would you like to come in for an audition? And then my mum was like, I think you should just do it and try it. And then I went in and I just completely fell in love with the place. So I decided that I wanted to do music and I luckily got in and then I was chatting to my dad about it and he was like, look, if you want to do music, just like completely go for it and give it your all. So I'm so glad I did it though. Like so glad.
Yeah, and the fact is, like, you've gone on and you've been like a support act or sung with some absolute legends of
Yeah.
our like Irish age kind of thing. Like, how did some of that all come about? Did they reach out to you, or did you have representation that reached out to them to be like, "Hey, have you heard of Eve?"
So my granddad used to play with Mary Coughlin. He passed when I was about 3 years old, but I didn't really know her until like start of 2020. And so I reached out to her, Mary Coughlin. She was the first person I ever sang with on stage, like ever, in front of a crowd. So that was really special. We did it down in the Whale Theatre. And I just asked her, I texted her and I was like, is there any chance? And she was like, yeah, like she's so amazing with like getting younger artists on the stage and giving them their start and stuff like that. So she was great. And then I went on stage, completely forgot my words, completely. And she was like, what the hell? So but then she was like, you know what, that's what it's all about. You just need to like get up on stage more and you'll get more comfortable on stage because I really wanted to go up and sing. It was just like the nerves, and then the more I performed, I was like, yeah, this is exactly where I'm meant to be. But yeah, it was funny.
And how do you get over that kind of performance anxiety, so to speak? Because a lot of people have like different ways that they find it easier. So for myself, like I did music in school and I actually found it much more difficult to sing in front of just my music class than it was to
Yeah.
just get up on stage and sing in front of a bunch of people. Like I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
what it was. It was just such a weird switch in my brain.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like to a smaller crowd, you're kind of a bit more vulnerable. Whereas to a crowd that you don't really know, you're kind of like, look, like whatever happens, it's okay. And so I completely get you on that front. I think the more I did it, the less nervous I was. But I think nerves are good nerves. It's good as well to be nervous. I feel like if I'm not nervous, then I get more nervous. It's so weird. It's such a weird balance. But the more I performed, the less nervous I was to go on stage, the more confident I felt. And once I was on the stage and started singing, once I got through the first song, I was like, okay, I got this. But it's always I'm an absolute maniac before I get on stage. Like it's absolutely mental. My mum is always like, you're crazy. Like so many bleeding superstitions and all that. So yeah, it's funny.
I was just about to ask you, do you have any kind of superstitions or rituals that you do before you go on stage?
I always have to steaming vocals, that's kind of a regular thing, but I definitely like I've some weird thing about like my outfit. Like if I have my outfit planned before my like I always have to bring a few outfits and that's like a comfort thing to me. I don't know why. I feel like if my outfit is planned before before the day of my gig, I get really stressed out. I don't know what I don't know what came upon on that for what was just so funny. But I've gotten better with that. I've gotten better with
I
that.
suppose it's a good way for you to kind of channel your nervous energy into it. And I suppose
Yeah,
like if you didn't still get nervous, then you kind of feel like maybe you just don't care anymore. But having the nerves
100%.
means that it really matters to you still, which is
Yeah,
great.
yeah, exactly. That's so true.
And we've got Living in a Standstill. That is your new single. So tell me, what was the kind of inspiration behind it?
So I wrote it actually in 2024, and I was going through such a rut with songwriting. Like I was in such a rut with it. And I remember exactly when I was writing it, and I was getting really frustrated with myself about not being able to write a song. And then I was also thinking like how much pressure we all put on ourselves to be creative, and also like being like able to do social media and having like just the pressures of, you know, having to be the best at it or being the best at anything really. Like it's just I used to put a lot of pressure on myself to like work as hard as I can, and then I would get really burnt out and not really finding the balance. And I think it's just really important to kind of check in with yourself and realize that, there's some days you're not going to be able to be creative, and you can like channel that somewhere else. Maybe not to do with music, just in general. But yeah, that's kind of where the song came from.
And it must be so difficult because at the end of the day, songwriting is for a lot of people, it's so personal and,
Mm,
trying to tap into sort of that side of you. It's not something that you can necessarily do at the flick of a switch. So
yeah.
when you are kind of being like prodded to be like, when's the song ready? When's the song gonna be ready? And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like when people are like trying to write a book and they're like, where are the new pages? And you're like, I have no idea where they are.
Yeah, yeah, literally. Like you can't, sometimes it's so hard to just switch it on. And I wish I could. I wish there was like a little light switch that I could just be like, yep, let's be creative now. But like you can't. Like sometimes I'll be in the car and like an idea comes and I'll be like, no. I'll be like, savor that moment. I'll be like, wait till I come back to my piano. But like it kind of just comes on at any stage, but sometimes you can't really control it. But yeah, all of my songs are really personal, and they come from really personal places. So it's hard to kind of tap into that sometimes, especially when there's other things going on in your life, and you know, and you're busy and or doing gigs or something. So yeah, I completely get you.
And am I right in saying that there's kind of like an air of, channeling anxiety into the song as well? Because like let's
Yeah,
face it, the world is on fire. Everybody is kind of feeling anxious
yeah.
about, what the future is going to hold. And I kind of really feel that in the song as well.
Yeah, that definitely, the songwriting in that definitely taps into that. Like having anxiety about what your path is going to be, that's like a big one for me. And I definitely feel that all the time. And it's such a wave as well of emotions in that way. Like you can feel secure, and then you're also like, oh God, am I on the right path? Do I, like having to like get on the property ladder, like all that thing, like the housing crisis in Dublin, it's like it's a whole sort of that's all tapped into that song really as well.
Yeah, it's gone insane, and especially and I remember speaking with Fake Saint about this as well, is
Mm,
that with the whole AI thing coming into place, that it's like,
yeah,
you're trying to carve your way as a songwriter when there's people who are literally just kind of like typing a prompt into an algorithm and it's creating
yeah,
this thing for them. And I forget what turn of phrase he used, but I thought it was really interesting that he's like, oh, like they're fake artists kind of thing instead of con artists,
yeah,
like that type of
yeah.
thing. How do you feel about the threat of AI kind of coming into the industry?
I think it's really scary. I think also it really takes away the creativity of it and tapping into that. And I think that's really important. And it's really good for your head as well, to be able to tap into that sort of part of your brain. So I think that's really scary. I think AI being able to write a song, but I'm hoping, there'll be some sort of catch in the future that people will be able to recognize what is art and what is fake, So
Exactly, yeah.
yeah,
And I think with there's certain tools that definitely can, help and assist, but that's kind of
mm,
like instead of AI tools being used to help, they're kind of in many industries, like especially in like journalism and things like that as well, it's
yeah.
being used as a replacement as opposed to an aid sort of thing.
No, it's so disappointing in that way. Like, and it's also, yeah, as you said, in every other like in any other job, AI is kind of taking over. But I'm just hoping there'll be some sort of malfunction in the future, and then they'll be able to go back to humans. You know?
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. And
Yeah.
like I think for musicians in this day and age, there's also this other angle, and you kind of touched on it there with the whole social media aspect as well. Like
Mm,
I always remember like Justin Bieber coming up through the ranks because he was discovered on YouTube and MySpace kind of thing, and that
yeah.
was so like out there. Whereas nowadays it almost seems that like you have to be a hit on TikTok before you can be a hit on the
Yeah.
radio these days. Do you kind of feel any pressure from that yourself?
100%. Like I'd be posting all the time and I get really disappointed in myself if I don't get any views. Like it's like as if my success is based on how many likes I get or how many views, which I find it can be really sad sometimes. And but it's, it's funny, like I'd be talking to my other friends who are musicians as well and they feel the exact same. So there is a lot of pressure to keep posting online and if you're approaching people, let's just say like labels or something like that, they would want you to be at a certain level for you to get signed. And like it's hard to find a following on social media and because it's so saturated nowadays, which is good, it's good to have social media now because there's so much more exposure on artists. Um so there is pros and cons to it, but I definitely do feel a pressure to keep posting and you know that's kind of seems to be the way at the moment to gain some sort of following.
Yeah, but in fairness, like you seem to be doing something right, especially you have the likes of John Reynolds working with you on
Oh
your
yes.
album. Like,
Yeah,
how? What? That's insane.
I know. He's amazing. We spent like the bulk of 2025 last year working on the album and it was just so much fun. Like I've never felt so present in a project or just anything. Like I just felt so at ease. And yeah, his studio is up in Enniskerry and it was just so nice and his family are so lovely and I just completely felt at home.
That's so lovely. And
Yeah.
like at the moment you've got the surname Buckley, so I know you go by EvieB, but your surname
Yeah.
is Buckley. And we've got another Buckley who is, flying the flag for Ireland in the US for the Oscars this weekend. So
Yes.
is it the era of Buckleys now for
I
Irish
would hope
Buckleys?
so. I would hope so. 100%. Oh my God, I'm so rooting for Jessie. She is incredible. Have you seen Hamlet?
Oh yes.
Oh my God. Bawled my eyes out.
I
It
think if you
was,
didn't, then there's something wrong with you.
oh my God. Even when like, I'm probably spoiling it, but even when like the bird died, oh my God. Bawled my eyes out. That's when I started crying. I could not. I actually just couldn't.
And I think because they'd already built it up so much to that
Yeah.
point, that
Mm.
you knew that something was going to happen. So when this happened, you were already on the verge. So of
Yes.
course, like it tipped you over, and then it
100.
just
And then
kept
when the
going.
kid, oh my God, when the boy, and he was looking for his parents like on the stage. Oh my God, I'm actually, yeah, yeah,
Let's move it back to happier talk.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
So, what can you tease for the future? Have you any gigs coming up, or like when is the album coming out as well?
So, the album is coming out hopefully end of August, start of September. That's kind of the frame where we're releasing the album, and going to be releasing another song as well in a few months, which I'm really excited about, and it's a really special one as well. And yeah, where you can see me, I'm doing a gig with Mary Black in mid-April on the 22nd in Portlaoise doing a gig with her and then maybe a little special guest or something in Dublin. But yeah, we'll see.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
No problem.